Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatang Vitang Tang Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitangscha No Magyana Timrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukham Karuti Vachalam Pango Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Sri Gurun Dinatarinam Adadana Srinam Dantayaridam Jache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padamboja Dulisham Janma Janmani Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandamatergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Sri Radha Madana Mohano Dibyad Brindaranya Kapadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasansto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalibi Sevyamana Smarami Sriman Rasarasarangbi Bangshi Bhattatatastita Karsan Venus Vinay Gopi Gopinatha Sri Estuna Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemabdivyachtavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai Srila Guru Maharaj informs us that when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was visited by Swarup Damodar Goswami, his divine vision, and given the seva of extracting from Srimad Bhagavatam certain essential, important slokas from the Bhagavat Son Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dharma Jnani Dibiksaha Kalo Nashtra Drishamesha Puranarko Dunodataha. After Krishna, the wind-up of his pastimes and withdrawn from this plane, the world is plunged into the darkness of the Kali Yuga. So they're saying the Krishna Son, Krishna Surya, Krishna Son has withdrawn, the world is plunged into darkness. Then how are we going to see, to know, to navigate, to understand anything substantial spiritually, right? About God, divinity, the infinite? And it says, the Bhagavad Purana has risen like a brilliant sun. You can say 18,000 rayed sun, each sloka, 18,000 slokas. And that will reveal everything. That will illumine Krishna conception, the Bhagavad Purana. But without the person Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat is inaccessible in terms of proper understanding and the ability to extract from there. Achinoti yashastartam stave acharatapi. The Acharya extracts the inner meaning of the scripture. There may be some superficial meaning that's apt to be misread, misunderstood. So we need the person Bhagavad to guide us, to reveal its inner meaning, to show its relevance. Swarup Damodar, and we can say, as Guru said, don't think of them, they're posing as passive agents in the form of a book or some written form or now digital media. He's saying, but really, they're living spiritual substance, and they're looking for mediums for expression. So I saw some pictures recently online, and it showed perhaps at the installation of Radha Madan Mohanji and Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Kolkata, and you can see just this, it's not the focal point of the picture, but it caught my eye that you see where the book stand is and the book, and you see a garland. That before reading the book, who's conducting the reading, a garland is being offered to the Bhagavatam as being a living, the way we garland a person. It's a living personal representation. Not only representation, Krishna himself. Oh, the Bhagavatam is no less than the holy body of Krishna himself. So a garland is being offered, and who's conducting that reading is offering themselves in service for transmission. As in the very first meeting with Srila Guru Maharaj, he said, as I was listening to that recently, and I had certain things in my mind that I recall, but I was surprised to hear the very first thing I heard him say. I had heard him speak on tape the year before, but the first thing I heard sitting in front of him was, he said, we must convert ourselves into a proper medium. That's the first thing. The first words I ever heard from his lotus lips is, we must convert ourselves into a proper medium. When a devotee was visiting Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and Navadip Dham, and the visiting devotees always offer themselves, make themselves available for different services. We know Srila Madhusudan Maharaj was very what's the word? Efficient, proficient at engaging all the servitors, and with the approval of Srila Gurudev. But so they're wondering, what should I be do? What service should I be doing now that I'm here at the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat in Navadvip? And Guru Maharaj, because we could think of so many things, but he surprised, at least me, when he said, your service is to acquire the proper angle of vision. Right? We think, no, but I mean, they need help in the kitchen, right? Or we need to clean the temple, mandira marginado, Sringara, or we need to make garlands, and that's true. That's what we expected. But Guru Maharaj said, your service is to acquire the proper angle of vision. Right? What is the primal Guru Mantram is about acquiring the proper angle of vision. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjanas Salakaya Chaksur Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. And we heard from the beginning, Shastra Chaksu, learning to see through the eyes of the scripture. But again, that'll take you back to the Vaishnava, who's interpreting that scripture, making it meaningful and relevant to us in our lives and our circumstance. But in that prayer, the devotee is expressing gratitude, saying, my eyes were cataracted by ignorance. What Guru Maharaj calls acquired prejudice, acquired tendency, is rendering distorted perception, a distorted idea of self and environment of everything. And saying, and I'm giving my obeisance to my guru, who is like surgically removing that cataract. Right? And Guru Maharaj, who would hear about the latest technology and different things, and he was saying that in the future how lasers would be used for different types of surgery. Laser means light. And I thought, oh, that makes this example even better. Because you can say, with light, with illumination, the cataract is being removed. And with revelation, it's being removed. That's the light that removes the cataract, is what is being revealed by the Vaishnava. But there must be the proper medium. Right? Swarup Damodar visits Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's the proper medium for this. And tells them, so you make a collection. That 18,000 rayed sun, people can read that and get lost, or misinterpret, or put undue emphasis on something that does not warrant it. Right? I remember being in Zaporizhia, and one lady, when her daughter, I was initiating them on behalf of Srila Gurudev, she said, what should our morning program be? I said, well, what are you doing now? She said, no, we chant the Narayana Kavacha. I said, why do you do that? He said, well, we read in the 6th canto of Prabhupada's books how if one will do this, and even in his lifetime, one of his disciples was doing it. And he said, I didn't ask you to do this. But in your book, it says how. So without the living interpretation of the living Vaishnava, and so all of them, but who is most accessible, we're likely to misinterpret. Right? And that misinterpretation leads to anartha, right? Misunderstanding, the wrong meaning. Right? So, need the qualified who's the qualified person? According to Swarup Damodar, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, telling him to make this collection out of the 18,000, perhaps 1,000 or so, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's saying, I really didn't want to reveal this. What was the inspiration for this book, this collection? He said, but I am in a quandary that if I don't say it, then I'm not giving tribute to whom deserves that. So, in the name of passing the, what is it? Pratishta, the honor or fame, he was passing it on to Guru. And that's when he reveals that Swarup Damodar came to me and gave this order, this instruction. So, and he says, he gave a unique interpretation of the first 3 slokas of Srimad Bhagavatam along the lines of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan Tattva. Sambandha means relationship, Abhideya, the means. You understand your relationship to Krishna from where we are at present, Krishna, the means to get there, and the ultimate attainment and shelter, prayojan, the fruit, the goal, the conclusion. So, the deity of Sambandha, The first one, Janmadyasya yatonvayat itaratas cha arteshu abhigya swarat tene brahma hridaya adhikavaye muhyanti atsuraya. That's the Sambandhagyan. So the deity of Sambandhagyan is Madan Mohan. The Sambandhagyan Acharya is Sanatana Goswami Prabhu. And we know his deity is Madan Mohan. And it is not coincidental, right? Necessarily so. So, because Madan, the principle of lust, kam, as Srila Guru said, it is the engine driving this world. Everything. Not, we think, oh, you mean the reproduction? No, everything is being driven by this principle, either directly or indirectly. Interestingly, that was the position held by Freud. So you're saying, someone's a great musician, or something. He's saying, it's just repressed, being expressed in this way, everything. All the achievements of man, art, science, technology, this is the driving principle of existence. The poet Auden, in one of his poems, said, we are composed of eros and dust. That sort of puts it succinctly. We are composed of eros and dust. This principle, right? So, it's the driving principle of material existence, right? And as Guru said, no greater power has ever been conceived than beauty. Right? That's why we say beauty over power. Right? And it is innate, intrinsic. It cannot be separated. As Saraswati Thakur says in the famous pamphlet called The Erotic Principle in Unalloyed Devotion, you can no more divorce the principle of eros from existence than existence itself. So we're back to that. So in the first verse of the Bhagavatam, not only the first verse, in the first 3 words, this is referenced. Janmadyasya yataha. That was what was given in the Vedanta Sutra, and now it's going to be fully expressed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's mentioned in the very beginning. You say, Janma, well that means birth, Janmadyasya, it's, what everything's coming from, that must be the absolute truth from which everything is coming. Well, that's a very general thing to say. Right? So, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj, in his commentary, draws our attention to this. He says that Janma Dyasya, it says Janma Adi, which would generally mean like birth, Adi, etc. Like what is manifest, maintained for some time, what winds up, like in the Upanishads. Right? Yato va imani bhutani jayante. See, everything is there, but in the Upanishads and elsewhere, it's expressed in a more of an abstract way. It's going to become very specific, explicit in the Bhagavatam. But it does say that Janma Adi. So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, who's always extracting the inner meaning of the scripture, his specialty, he says this Adi means Adi Rasa, the original rasa, which means Madhura Rasa. Adyo eva raso. Then when Mahaprabhu meets Raghupati Upadhyay, saying, what's the supreme form of Krishna, the supreme abode of Krishna, the supreme age of Krishna, and the supreme rasa. Right? The Shyama eva param rupam. Shyama Sundar, that's the param rupam. Right? Puri Madhu Puri Bara. And we have our resident Mathura Vasi here. So he says, Madhupuri is another ancient name of Mathura. But it means like, the sweet land, sweet city. Puri, and you say, well, what about, because it goes, we'll get to that. Right? From the crossing the marginal plane and the Vaikuntha, being drawn by Madan Mohan, drawn from this plane, we're jumping ahead a little bit, to Vaikuntha. It's becoming stronger and more compelling, and Ayodhya to Dwaraka to Mathura, Madhupuri, Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radhakunda, Tire, banks, and water. So anyway, so he's saying Puri Madhupuri Bara, Kishore, that's the supreme age of Krishna. And what's the supreme rasa? Adi rasa. Adi rasa eva pra. Adi rasa means mukhya rasa, madhura rasa. Why is describing Adi mean? It's the original. Generally, sometimes when we think in sequence, we think, we hear there's Shanta, then Dasya, and there's some development, and then Sakya, then Vatsalya, then Madhura, Parakya, Svakya, Parakya. So we're seeing some sort of growth, development, right? But and Madhvacharya is speaking along these lines too, according to Srila Guru Maharaj, about, what does he say? There's a thing, the devata of that thing, like Vayu, then Guru Tattva, Balaram, Radhagovinda Chidlilamritam, like that, right? And Guru Maharaj said, but I say just the opposite. That there's Radhagovinda Chidlilamritam, and then everything's coming from that way. It doesn't mean that you can't think along those other lines in terms of development, but really, what we're being told here, no, this is the original. Mukhya means it's the principle, the source of all the others. The others have their necessity. Just like, sweet, sour, bitter, pungent. You can't say, like when we were kids, we just want to eat sweets. When Vishnu Dutt, Prabhu and I, we made these life members, these Ghosh brothers, a sweet shop in Calcutta called the Satyanarayan Mishti Bandar. And they had this Misti Doi and other things, and they lived in Tribeni, which is near Panihati. Tribeni means 3 rivers, near Panihati. So they're very familiar with those pastimes. They invited us to go there for, Pat Kirtan, Nagar Sankirtan for a weekend, And they asked Vishnu what we would eat while we were there. And he said, just sweets. Thank the Lord they didn't listen to him. They own a sweet shop. They're going, with that we understand, but they made like Begun Bhaja and so many wonderful Bengali. But he said, we only need sweets. So we can think but you need the others too, to enhance the sweetness, actually. So, Guru Maharaj says, Adi Rasa, Mukhi Rasa, Madhura Rasa. It is the original. He's saying the principle. All the others are satellites, is one way he puts it. Another way he puts it is all the other rasas are clients of Madhura Rasa. So, Janmadyasya, in the first three words of the Bhagavatam, another way of stating it more specifically is Chakravarti Thakur is saying, everything comes from Madhura Rasa. And as Guru Maharaj says in his, he was Bhaktivinoda 1000, Guru Maharaj 300, he wrote the introductory slokas, Yadamiyam Mahima Sri Bhagavatam Katayam Pratipatam Anubhutam Apya Labdavideya Tadakila Rasamurti Shamalila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Parapadmam Prapadye. Saying, although ostensibly her name is not mentioned, really every step of the way, everything is meant to take us in one direction in the Bhagavatam, to the service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, whom he says, Shama Lila Avalambam. You can say the Lila, we said Shama's under Krishna. Shama means black. Once Gurudev told me, he said, black is the color of Madhura Rasa. Just putting that out there. There was no explanation. Because he's looking at the deities at the mat, Guru, Gauranga, Gandharva, Govinda Sundarju, and he's having darshan of the deities. He turns and he goes, heavy Madhura Rasa. Okay? Yes, Maharaj. Shama Lila Avalambam is saying the whole Madhura Rasa pastimes are dependent upon her. So Radha Govinda Chidli Lamritam. So it means when it says everything comes from that, and particularly Parakya, that means, and Parakya is the overwhelming mood pervading Vrindavan, right? Whether it being expressed in the Parakya of the Brajagopis, Radharani and Brajagopis, or the sense of the other, and Yashoda being told, Krishna is not my child. Some people say he has another mother. These envious people. Right? Those say Krishna was born from Devaki. So saying Yashoda, she doesn't like to hear that. And she knows better otherwise. And what she's saying is actually true. But the sense that he may not be her, that intensifies her love and affection. The cowherd boy is saying, some people say Gopal is not one of us. And what? Gopal? Yeah, they say he's a Deva, or Deva, he's the god of all the gods. Gopal, our Gopal. Yes, they're saying that. Impossible. Gopal, he talks so much nonsense, and he's so attached to us. People will talk. So, that Krishna belongs to another, right? That there's some encroachment, right? So, Shama Lila, that's all dependent upon her. So if this world, if Kam is the engine driving material existence, and as we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, Urdhva Mulamadashakam, that the material world is a perverted reflection of the original, right? It's like upside down and backwards. Then that means, so we've got Kam Andatama. Kam of this world is Andatama, dense darkness. Prem Nirmala Bhaskar, or said dense light. North Pole, South Pole. So the South Pole like this, everything's there in a particular way. It's all opposite. Cross the marginal line, go up toward Vaikuntha, the southern hemisphere, the spiritual world. Prem, Nirmala Bhaskar is the original. So, first three words, Janmadyasya yataha. Tene Brahma Hridaya Muhyanti Yatsuraya. in saying, but in trying to properly assess, comprehend, conceive Krishna conception, Krishna, Muhyanti Yatsuraya, even the gods are bewildered. It's telling us in the beginning, and then the book is going to give evidence to that. Indra Mohan, the Govardhan Buddha, Indra's Mohan. Brahma Vimohan. Right? Madan. Sometimes Cupid, Madan means Cupid taken to be one of the gods. Madan Mohan. Remember, this verse is the Sambandha Gyan sloka. The deity of Sambandha Gyan is Madan Mohan. Why must Madan Mohan be that and not another deity? Because if, as we're being told, that mundane lust has a stranglehold, vidyate hridaya granti chidyante sarva samshaya chiyante chasya karmani mayi drishte akilamani. And only this Bhagavad Katha can break that stranglehold. That means, as Narada chastised Vyasa, saying, if you just give people some generic religion, some advice how to, successfully navigate material existence, live your life here, he said, the erotic principle is so deeply ingrained in the soul that if they have no sense of that prospect and the higher reality, then it means the only place where you can exercise that tendency or that principle is in the mundane world. So it's so intrinsic to people's existence, then naturally they're going to use religion to find something to regulate this activity to go, and that will keep people bound in mundane and material existence. Unless you tell them about the super excellent, irresistibly charming, sweet, delightful pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the Braja Gopis, which can release the stranglehold that mundane lust has upon the heart. Vikriditam Bajravadu Viradam cha Vishnu Shradhan Vito Anusranaya Datavarnayajak Bhakti Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kamam Hridroga Mashu Api Hinuti Achirena Dira. There it's called hridrogam, heart disease. Right? The desire to seek fulfillment through acquire, control, and consumption. Right? Of things that are lower than Atma, than soul, than spirit. Right? As opposed to Atma Samarpanam, offering oneself in service to that which is higher as a means of fulfillment. So, the Madan Mohan, so if we establish that Madan, Eros is the engine driving material existence, right? And in this sense, one Cupid, one Madan, it's got everyone bewildered, right? So, but we're being told Krishna, Karshan, Akarshan, Krishna means attraction, the central conception of the infinite, is all attractive personality of Godhead, the all attractive, all beautiful, all sweet, all charming, all loving, all affectionate, all reciprocating personality of Godhead. not the Anoranyan Mahato Mahayan, the Brahma, all-accommodating Brahma, so big, all-permeating Paramatma Andantarastam Paramanu Chayantarastam, the central conception of the infinite, the golden mean of the infinite, reality of the beautiful, the personality of Godhead, who is what? So how beautiful is he? Brahma, who was bewildered, and he deals with it. He owns it and he deals with it. So you gotta love him for that. He acknowledges that and says, you gave me the Bhagavatam, what happened? So, it's Krishna. Leela, Yogamaya. Look, Yogamaya could even have Baladev going for a year. Right? So what to speak of you? Even I'm astonished by her, my Leela Shakti, how she operates, the things that she can do and control me. I want things to go in a particular way, she has them go in another way. And we're told by Vishwanath Chakrabarti again, demonstrating that the will of the devotee is supreme. Krishna acknowledging that. At the installation at Radha Raman Sundarju and Koikali, Gurudev was making that point. The will of the Vaishnava being supreme. So, how beautiful is he? Brahma Sangita. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. 10 million cupids personified. Kandarpa Koti means 10 million cupids. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha has that sort of attraction to the infinite center. So, and to put it more specifically, as indicated in the name, saying, so that Cupid who's got everyone bewildered, Mohan, everyone is bewildered by Madan. Right? When that Madan sees Krishna, Madan becomes bewildered. Why is bewildering everyone? Now he's bewildered, seeing the all-attractive personality of Godhead, of Krishna. So therefore Krishna is known as Madan Mohan. And when Mahaprabhu was wandering in the Vrindavan forest, we're told, that, what should we say? That, like when Krishna and Balaram go in the Vrindavan forest, except now they're seeing Mahaprabhu, the divine count. We're told in the second song, Dibyat Brindaranya Kapadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Singhanasanasto. Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo. Radha and Govinda beneath the Kalpa Vriksha desire tree. Srimad Ratnagara Singhanasanasto. They're on a jeweled throne, surrounded by their Prestalibi, the Astasakis and their assistants, this select group of gopis. And now they're seeing Radha and Govinda combined as one, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the cows are coming, they're licking him, the deer, they're licking him and then walking with him. All the animation is ecstatic. The twigs are are erect in ecstasy, dripping honey like tears. And at that point, we're told Suk and Sari, these two parrots, like we still see in Vrindavan, those green parrots. The couple, Suk, the male, Sari, the female, they fly down and light on the fingers of Mahaprabhu. And their exalted personalities, right? Liberated souls of the highest order, to participate in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And there, the parrot Suk is singing the praise of Jagan Mohan, Madan Mohan, Krishna, saying how Krishna is so beautiful, irresistibly attractive, he's reality the beautiful, everyone is attracted to him. Jagan Mohan, he's bewildering the whole universe with his beauty and charm and sweetness. And, I wanted to just read, because that sloka is very nice, just to hear it. Sundarjam lalanali daya dalanam lila ramastambini biryam kandugita dribarjam amala pare parardham guna Shilam sarva jananuranjanamaho yasyayam asmat prabhur Bishwam Bishwa Janina Kirti Ravatat Krishno Jagan Mohana. To which the female parrot, she responds, Shri Radhikaya Priyata Surupata. Shri Radhikaya Priyata Surupata Sushilata Nartanagana Chaturi Gunali Sampat Kavita Charajyate Jagan Mano Mohano Chittimohini. And she's saying, but Krishna, he looks his most beautiful when Radharani is at his side. That's when all these things you're saying, that's when they're most true. Guru Maharaj quoted these verses once when a devotee was reading from Prabhupada's Krishna book, and he said, Prabhupada once said that Krishna is not so beautiful without Radharani. And to support that, Guru Maharaj started quoting these slokas. Right? So she's saying that. And that Krishna, whom everyone is bewildered by and attracted to, he has that supremely bewildering capacity when he's at the side of Srimati Radharani. Otherwise, he is bewildered by her beauty. Right? And they go, and Mahaprabhu is listening to this delightful conversation, and it's recorded in the Govinda Lilamritam of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. As he has Chaitanya Charitamritam, he has another book, Govinda Lilamritam, which we're not generally advised to read in detail, but some of the slokas from there are given here. So, Madan Mohan, Guru Maharaj is saying, because in our mantra given by Guru too, you have Krishna, Govinda, Gopijana Ballabha, or Gopinath. Again, these three. Right? So the Madan Mohan is to tell us in the most general sense that this prospect, this possibility is there ultimately. As in this world, union, that one can ultimately be united and with Krishna and the loving pastimes in Vrindavan. So that first sloka, Sambandha, Abhideya, the deity of Abhideya, the second sloka is Govinda, Rupa Goswami's Govinda. And what is Govinda telling us in this context? That the means, what are the means? Govinda is a reference to the senses, like Sarvabhati Vinirmuktam Tat Paratena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Arutama. This is good news for us. You're being told you can use your senses as a means to get to this ultimate. Not that you have to become senseless, right? Or what do they describe? Sensory deprivation as a means. We're talking, no, the opposite of that. That Hrishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. that you can use your senses in the service of Krishna. Besides his name being Govinda, other name Hrishikesh. Right, so, as we heard from the Queen Rukmini in the Chaitanya Bhagavat pastime of Mahaprabhu at the house of Chandrasekhar and Devi Bhav, Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Srinvatam Te Nirvisha Karna Vivarai Haratonga Tapam Rupam Dasham Dashimatam Akilartalabam Tvaya Chuta Vishati Chitram Apatrapam Me. There's a thing. When I heard about you, then I understand. Bhuvana Sundara, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. And Tri Jagan Manasa Karshi really means there's these three worlds, like lower, middle, higher, but also the three worlds of like Dwaraka, Mathura, Vrindavan, or Vaikuntha, etc. That the upper world and the spiritual. He's Bhuvana Sundar, Shrutva Guna, and hearing his qualities. Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Srinvatam Te. And saying that actually, it's not that you can use your senses in service to Krishna. The truth of the matter is, the senses are only meant for service to Krishna. Right? To use them in any other way is an aberration. Right? Which we can say in terms of free will is an option. But really, from a spiritual point of view, it's not an option. We hear that in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, Sukadev saying, it sounds, very heavy, like brahmachari stuff. Where he's saying, though if someone doesn't, use their eyes to see, they're like peacock plume, the eyes on a peacock feather. If their ears don't hear Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, it's like the punctured conch shell. And he goes through all the different senses and just canceling them if they're not used in service to Krishna. And you would think, that sweet 16-year-old boy, Sukadev Goswami, speaking like this type of fanatical perspective, you could say. But then I saw two things I want to say. One is, the people in this world, they'll say things like, if you haven't done this, you haven't lived. Right? When they're very passionate about something. Right? Or if you haven't tasted this, you've never eaten. Right? It's a way of speaking to convey a particular level of passion, appreciation, intensity. Right? But so if you can say that about things, if you haven't seen this, your eyes, what's the point of having eyes? They'll say that about things. This is what the devotees are saying. Like, if you have if you could see Krishna for a moment, have a glimpse, even a remote glimpse of Krishna, then you would understand, to use your eyes for any other purpose is a waste, unless it's directly or indirectly the service of Krishna. So he's saying, Shrutva, now I understand not only the best use, but why the auditory sense exists is to hear about you. And in the third sloka, Nigama Kalpatura Galitam Palam Shukamukharam Ritudavasamyatam. Well, first we should have said Kaitava Dharma in the second one. So what does it mean? It won't be that so-called cheating religion. Right? Anyabhilasha Dashunyam Jnana Karmadhyana. No ulterior motive in this, but Atma Samarpana, self-giving, self-offering. Right? But in the third sloka, Nigama Kalpatura Galitam Palam Shukamukha, there's that desire tree again. Saying, these Vedas, the Vedas are like a kalpataru. Whatever you want from them, you can get. Whether it be mundane, half spiritual, purely spiritual, everything in between. they're kalpataru in that sense. But saying, but the real fruit of the tree of the kalpataru of Veda, Sukha Mukhatamrita, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. That nectarine substance, the fruit, is being presented here on the pages of the Bhagavatam, and will be fully presented in the 10th canto. So from Madan Mohan to Govinda to what? What would the third one be? Gopinath. Right? We're saying if the Lord of the Gopis, Gopijana Ballava, Gopinath, Krishna's pastimes with the Braja Gopis. So from Madan Mohan to Govinda to Gopinath in 3 slokas. So, so that's the sloka of the Srinvatamte, Nirvishakarna Vivarai Haratongo, saying, and this will remove all suffering. All suffering is on account of forgetfulness of Krishna, separation from Krishna. Right? The same, fortunately, right, the antidote, the medicine for this is the same, whether your separation is based on forgetfulness or your separation is based on remembrance. Tava katam ritam tapta jivanam kavibir iditam kalmasha apaham. Sravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi grananti te buridajana. What are the gopis? They're not telling us to do one thing and they're doing another thing. There's just one thing they're saying. Hear about Krishna. Talk about Krishna. Remember Krishna. Offer yourself in service to Krishna. That's what they do. That's what they're advising us to do. Same thing. Not, you do this and you do that. We prefer to do. No. This is what they do. This is what they're telling everybody to do. This is what the Goswamis are telling you. Gopi, Bhava, Rasamrita, Dilaha. They're drowning in an ocean of Gopi Bhava. They're telling everyone else to become immersed in the same divine nectarine flow. So, Sukadev spoke so, what's the word? Boldly, yes, but like fervently, intensely. And then you go into the Madhya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam, where Kaviraj Goswami himself is giving a condensed version, fearing that he may not be alive to present everything. He gives a condensed version in Madhya Leela in 2nd, 3rd chapter there. And what does he have? Radharani saying almost identical things that Sukadev said in the 2nd canto of the Bhagavatam. Saying, if your eyes don't behold, the form of Krishna, what do you have eyes for? This sort of intensity and exclusive devotion and dedication. So I'm saying, if someone in this world can say similar things about the person, places, things of this world, then just think about it. The supreme reality and the highest appreciator of the supreme reality. What sort of intensity she has in her heart, her supremely devotional heart, to see that all the sense that Krishna, as Jayadev given, Vishwesham Manoranjanena Janayan Ananda Mendivara Shreni Shamala Kamalaya Upanaya Anangotsavam. He's saying Krishna is like, the form of Krishna is a festival, a sensuous festival. For your eyes, the sound of Krishna's flute and his ornaments. For your ears, the aroma, for everything. It's the ultimate, total, sensual experience. Govindam, Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. That Krishna. So although it begins with Madan Mohan, goes as far as Gopinath, Guru Maharaj said, the ultimate truth is always in the central position. Therefore, his deity, Govinda Sundar, that Govindaji, as mentioned there, Dibyat Brindaranya Kapadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalibi Sevya Manusmarami. Surrounded by the Presta, Parama Presta Sakis. And what are we told by Rupa Goswami? We told before, crossing the marginal plane into Vaikuntha, going deeper, higher into Ayodhya, to Dwaraka, to Mathura, Madhupuri, to Vrindavan, Vrindavanam Hoite Shrestha Govardhana Shaila, Gandharvika, Giridhari, Jatakrida, Koila, superior pastimes in Govardhana, then going to Radha Kunda, banks and water. What does Rupa Goswami say at the end of the Upadeshamritam? A rare achievement even for the Parama Prestas who are mentioned in this Govinda Sloka. A rare achievement for them. He's saying, what to speak of others? Who are the others who had just been mentioned? Uddhava, Narada. So we say, neophytes, new recruits, voyeuristically envisioning themselves as super servitors, when the actual super servitors are praying for an atomic presence in that plane, like Brahma, Yad Go Kulepi Katamangri Rajobhishekam, and his sloka, Uddhava sloka, Asamaho Charanarenu Jishama Hangshang, Vrindavane, Kimapi Gomilatosa Dinam, Yadushtadam, Swajanam Arjapatam Jahitva, Bejur Mukunda Parivim Shruti Birva Migyam. Tadburi Bhagyam Iha Janma Kimapyatavyam, Yad Gokulefi Katamangri Rajobhishekam. Very similar. Brahma from his prayers after his Mohan, and Uddhava in his prayers. Brahma, in a more general sense, saying, Vrindavan is now, I misread the whole thing, now what I understand what it is. I take the dust from the feet of the Brijbasis upon my head for my purification. Uddhava, delivering Krishna's message to assuage the separation burning in the hearts of the Brajagopis when he sees Srimati Radharani and her Radha Bhav, that Mahabhav Surupini Radha Thakurani, he's praying, if I can have an atomic presence in that plane when they're moving, their holy lotus feet are moving in service, Radha Padman Kitadam Vrindavan Jaranam. Bhaktivinoda, Vrindavan proper is embellished with the lotus footprints of Srimati Radharani. So Uddhava was saying, if I can be a creeper in that, and she's walking, some of the dust from her lotus feet I'll be shake me, I'll be bathed in the dust of her holy lotus feet, thereby consecrating my existence. That's his aspiration. Echoing the sentiments of Mahaprabhu himself and the Shikshastakam, who we're told is doing what? Mirroring the sentiments of the heart of Srimati Radharani. What is the verse? No, before that. What is the fifth verse of the Shikshastakam? The first where Krishna Kinkaram. No, that's the second. Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Bishame Bhavam Budho Kripaya Tabapada Pankaja Stuli Duli Disham Bichintaya. He's saying, I am your Kinkar, Krishna Kinkar, your servant. Ai Nanda Tanuja. Nanda means the son of Nanda Maharaj. But somehow I'm drowning in an ocean of forgetfulness of this fact. So what is my aspiration? Prabhupada would say, fix me up as one of the atoms of dust at your holy lotus feet. That's the proper aspiration. Hare Krishna. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Krishna Mridanga. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jaha Hoite Vignanash Abhishta Puran. Echai Gochai Jar Mui Taro Das. Kansavara Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Kandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame More Avilas. Echai Gochai Jabe Braje Koilovas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo. Jai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo. Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Charja Satar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandhara Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai. Sri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Govinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Vishva Varanya Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Vimalabhadut Maharaj Ki Jai. Sannyasi Brinda Ki Jai. Jai Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Sri Maheshwari Didi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Brinda Ki Jai. Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Maharaj, we have dandavats from Arjun Prabhu, Leela Sundar Prabhu, Lakshmi Priya Didi, and Sulekha Didi, and Nimai Priya Didi, all they from Ukraine. Aditi Nandana Prabhu and Vijay Krishna Prabhu from UK. Rasananda Prabhu from Russia. Purushottam Prabhu and Kalyani Didi from USA. Krishna Mohini Didi from Spain. Madhavi Didi from Colombia. Ananda Moi Didi from Portugal. Tapanindini Didi and Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Mexico. Nanda Nandana Didi, Holland. Marlon Rodriguez and Bartek from Poland. And from Shripad Vigrahanyasi Maharaj. Dandavats.
Jai Shripad Nyasi Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Rasananda Prabhu and Sochi Dandavat, Sandeep Krishna Prabhu, and Greater Sukartal, Dandavat, Jivanadidi and Krasnodar in Russia, Dandavat, Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu and Vrindavan, Dandavat, Chamuna's Mama Elena in Moscow, Dandavat, Govinda Nandini Didi in Moscow, Dandavat, Anjali, Dandavat. Where is she? She's in Kiselni, I think. Dandavat. Ananda Murti Prabhu, Dandavat. Lakshmi Priya in Kiev is Leela Sundar Prabhu, Dandavat. Gokula Tarni Didi, Dandavat. Achyutananda and Yaroslav, Dandavat. Kalindi Priya, and here, Dandavat. And her mother, Rinda, in Nizhny Novgorod, Dandavat. Ashapurna Didi, Dandavat. Pavel Brun Prabhu, Dandavat. Rasananda Prabhu in Kiev, Dandavat. No, he's in Govindaland. Dandavat. Gaurachandra Prabhu, Nadhodka, Dandavat. Shyamala in Belarus, Dandavat. Anantashesh Prabhu in Spain, Dandavat. Ram Sundar and Parmananda Prabhu, Dandavat. Seva Rupa Devi Dasi in South Africa, Dandavat. Ananda Niketan. Where was Altai?
Russia.
In Russia, Dandavat. Madhavilata in Odessa, Dandavat. Ajita in Kiselni, Dandavat. Praneshri Didi doing the Spanish translation, Dandavat. Priyanana in Lakta, Dandavat. And that looks like there's Munindra Mohan on the Vila Govinda veranda. The Vila Govinda Bhakti Vrinda, Dandavat, and Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj. Namachintamani Didi in Kiev, Dandavat. Rasananda, Madhavi Lata, who else? Anjali in Ukraine, Dandavat. Suleka in Kiev, Dandavat, we were there. Nityananda Das is here doing the translation. Leelavati here, Sulakshana here. Dhananjaya Prabhu, Dandavat Sankarshan, he is here. Damodar Das, Dandavat, Bhakti Lata, Dandavat. Jai Sripad Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj, Dandavat. Ananda Lila Didi, Dandavat. Chandrakanti in China with Sudevi, Dandavat. Nadia,
Yes.
have you nothing? Where is she? Do we know? Dandavat. All right. Is that everyone?
Maharaj, you have Dandavats from Jagannatha Chaitanya Dasa in Missouri, USA.
All right.
Awesome.
Hare Krishna.
That's it.
So, Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhuveva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnaveva Namo Namaha. That Janavi
Yeah.
in China. Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna. All right.
Jai Shubhat Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.